Howdy, coming back at you guys with a video on making art about truth. And this first image is more of a reference than anything else because there's no truth on this image whatsoever. This is a paint. Well, that's not a painting. No, it's a. I believe it's predominantly colored pencil, maybe watercolor pencil, somewhat drawing I made probably about 8 years ago. It took me a while to do it. I did it broken up, and it was this really trippy idea about a Targatee's blessing and this kind of cyclical nature of life. So let me explain what we have going on here and where I think I was completely aloof or just looking at the world in such a strange way. Anyways, here's what we have. We have a Targatees, which is Aphrodite. So it's a Sumerian goddess of fertility. And she, right, loosely she, look at that long male torso with like, you know, fake boobies. The shells are on her boobies and it's all fake. But like the shoulder structure, the long neck, the jaw, everything about it screams. Even the forehead seems to go, tilt back a little bit. It's not the rounded. It's a male. It's a male skeleton. Holds the seed of life. I didn't know this, but I just, being in the world and whatever, thought the symbol of fertility ought to represent the Whore of Babylon or whatever, or just in general, the swire, because it's what was presented. Is about to be eaten up by the toucan, a fake animal, a ghostly toucan, as you can see, with its skeleton sort of visible there. Looks to eat the seed of life and start up the cycle again. And you also have a phoenix here, which is a well-known symbol of reviving oneself or rejuvenation or coming back to life from the ashes. So you have these two birds representing the wings of life and death, where we come in and where we go out. And it's like the wings of death go back and grab the seed of life, and then the phoenix takes that, or maybe even the toucan turns into the phoenix and then goes back to Earth. And obviously this is our globe, fake Earth. Yeah. So then what's really interesting is the only thing in this image that's supposed to represent genuine life as is the seahorse. It's the now. It's what we have experienced. We're experiencing. Isn't it hilarious that I chose the freaking seahorse? I don't know the subconscious understanding of our reality. I did not know anything. Like maybe just this part of me knew. I don't even know. It's so confusing. But the seahorse reflecting obviously the Free Martin reality of our world is present at center image here, and it's just hilarious that I didn't know any of this, but here we have what is representing the present day as this well-known creature where the male births the children. Obviously the female goes through the whole gestation period and the male simply births them, but you get what I'm saying. The symbology is there, and it's just ridiculous how that happened. But now to modern day. This is one that I finished up maybe a month ago, maybe, I don't know, a few weeks or something. And it's a big club, and you're not in it. This is a George Carlin quote, and it's where a lot of my questions began when I heard that. But it goes forth hereafter. I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and he hath nothing in me. That's John 14:30, and that's an interesting note because 14 plus 30 equals 44, and 44 is a well-known destruction coding. So Satan weaving destruction. It's just interesting that even biblically you have that connection. So we'll start from the left, work our way to the right. Emperor penguins are not real. This is definitely one of the lesser evil animals in terms of fake animals in terms of its evil nature, I suppose, because yes, it's not nice to make this clown animal and pretend it's real and create all these fantasies in children's heads, but at least it seems they're not harming another animal unless you consider midgets to be harmed, but I think they go in with consent to wear emperor penguin costumes, and they get paid and whatnot. It's their job, so, or part of one of their jobs. And yeah, in our world, it's so hard to even get by. Everything's so freaking expensive. Like, they probably have to moonlight as an emperor penguin, or moonlight as a what else would it be? A small, like, maybe a panda. Um, but yeah, they're not real. I think it's mostly animatronics and midgets, so it's not on the same level as zebras, as painted horses, where, yeah, you don't know how deep this goes. Like, mules, donkeys, horses, any equine is, I think, up to can be zebrified or turned black and white, because we live in a dark world where they'd rather make clown animals instead of allowed life to proceed naturally. There's so much eugenics and so much breeding going on, and it's hard to know where the line is. But it is pure evil to paint up horses just for the sake of it, and then and then not only that, pretend that they're a real animal unto themselves, and they are. What I was told as a child was that, yeah, they're too aggressive or wild, and unlike a regular horse, you shouldn't approach them because they'll probably kick you in the face and kill you or something like that. That was probably like verbatim what I received as a child. When no, a potential reason that they could be aggressive is because they've been messed with, and that's something that's got to end. We got to continue to get the word out about zebras. So then the next one, spacesuits equals 33, and then what goes further from that, NASA equals Nasha. So that's it means deception in Hebrew, and it's just one letter off. And it's clear that, if you were somebody that grew up in a Hebrew-speaking country, Israel, for example, you would know, oh, America has this thing called NASA, called deception, and it's this, what? Like, they have a deception spaceship company. It's just so obvious, but they probably tell their children right away. I mean, hey, you live under a firmament, and you're living in a creation, and we just have to keep these people out because we're divine androgynes, and if you understand Adam Kadmon, then that's what we're trying to do, is go back to the cosmic egg, and for some reason that involves lying to regular people, but we're holier than them, and they're just clay. So no, see, as you can see, their logic is not logical, and their whole fake world is ridiculous, and it was never interesting. I've never really been interested in space. It's like not enticing. I've talked about this before. I like the idea of having your suit pierced or something happening and then you're dead because it's an anoxic environment. No. So anyways, moving on, he's wearing the orange spacesuit. Orange equals 33. That's a well-known one. If you reduce all the letters to single-digit values, that's what we have there. G equals 33. Z is a 26 letter, so if you add 7, which is the G number, to that, you get 33. So that's 33. Of course, the G is everywhere. We think of Gatorade. We think of the Masonic G. It's prevalent for a reason. Gatorade also has the lightning bolt going through it, so that's Satan reference. KKK equals 33. So this false evil organization of supposed, quote unquote white Martins, who wish to do harm to and conspire to do harm to African American or black folks. It's just a fake thing. It's a divide and conquer fake thing. It's oogie boogie scary thing. No genuine reality to it. I mean, I suppose somebody could hear about it and have those thoughts and want to be part of it, but then realize that it doesn't even exist, and it's just freaks wearing costumes trying to get people scared. So all these things are really. Holocaust equals 33. So yeah, another psychotic thing from the club that we don't need to carry the weight of anymore, because it's fake. So then on to the center of the image, gravity is made up. So back on that outer space tangent. So obviously gravity, what's a big aspect of gravity is that large masses, large objects like the sun supposedly being the most enormous thing in our quote unquote solar system, draws all of these other spheres around it, all these other quote unquote planets around it, because it has a gravitational pull. Gravity needs a pull. But this is not, we don't see this in real life. We do not see corpulent people picking up marbles as they walk. We do not see elephants picking up the pebbles as they walk. We don't, it doesn't happen. So you cannot, in the microcosm, explain in the what is going on in the macrocosm, which is inherent to our condition. You should always be able to explain in the microcosm what's going on in the macrocosm. It's just part of life. So the whole idea, like water always finds its level. Yep, that's because it always does. In the ocean, in the rivers, in the sea, it's always finding its level. There may be some slope, but there's no curvature. We never see that. And gravity is what they use to allow for the curvature bullshit to exist. They had to make something up. They had to make some force up, and that's what they did. So really messed up what they did. Every day I get a little bit more spiritual, living in the reality that we're in a creation and we're here to help people out, get people away from these sick people that only know how to enslave things and joke, and yeah, we've experienced it every day of our lives. So Lake Wobegon, where the women are strong and the men are good looking. Yeah, that's where we live. That's what's pushed everywhere on all fronts. All politicians, all actors, they're all actors anyways. Just anybody that's well known, it's going to be a trans person. And then beyond that, you go into your local towns, people in positions of power, people that are the bosses. Yeah, you bet. Or they're often women married to Martins and go along with it. So we know all about that. And it's important to talk about. Wanted to get a lot of these truths out in one image. So AIDS equals 33 there. So this just opens up the whole can of worms of, yes, they make up fake illnesses. Obviously, the current thing we're going through right now is made up. And yeah, that was a big one back in the 80s, 90s. They used to associate it with the gay folks. Obviously, I made a video on it, but AIDS is a fake, nonsensical, ridiculous disease. But if you believe in it, it would scare you. And it definitely scared me for a few years, and it's psychotic. People lied to me about that. Then next to that is the World Trade Center, stood for 33 years. So yeah, they fake terrorism, they fake wars. The World Trade Center went up in 1968, and it went down in 2001. And it was because it was planned. There weren't even floors in the building. It's because it's a symbol of Freemasonry. It's the Twin Towers, the two pillars of Freemasonry, and they're just putting on a big spectacle. They want you to be transfixed and scared of everything, but you can just be like, wow, look at these clowns. Look how ridiculous they are, and the wheels are falling off on this great clown brigade. So yeah, let's keep going here on the upper side, on the top of the ceiling, or on the top of the wall here rather. We have evolution. Darwin equals 33. I was going to do another dinosaur quote about a Gary Larson thing, but it didn't quite apply because it's referring to men and dinosaurs being here together. So, you know, the obvious, well, they weren't here together. You could even have people like arguing for dinosaurs. But the whole idea of dinosaurs is just ridiculous. Stuff I think is cool, has a great page on it. Just how they are really interesting. It's like this open source fantasy creature like Pokemon or something, but then there's so many that are obviously based off machinery, like I think of the Brontosaurus and the crane and the Ankylosaurus and the wrecking ball, but at heart it is a lie, and they don't make any sense anatomically. They would not be able to survive under their own weight. Many of them could not have sex. It's just not physically possible. So yeah, they're a big joke and an evil thing to lie about to children. So the dinosaurs are here. And then I always thought this was a big thing. RFTK Ohio pointed this out to me. The sexual maturity of fake white is 33 years for the females. So it's just like, you're telling me that these things do not reproduce for that long? That's insane. That's such a long time. But and it's so ridiculous. Like, most animals that besides humans are ready within a few years, couple years. And then you're talking about this thing, like this animal, this fake thing that has black eyes in every image you look at it, because it's fake. It's 25 feet long, 20 something feet long, and it could, tear you up in a few seconds. And it's in every ocean all around the world and has a ranger everywhere. It's just evil. It's fake. It's mason surfers keeping it out of your water. So another fakery. And then a big one, huge one, dispels evolution in a fell swoop, is the great apes are people in fursuits. All the gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans. I mean, I don't know about much further than that. Like, maybe mandrills, those look pretty crazy. Maybe I think baboons are real. I don't know, those look real to me. But yeah, certainly the bigger ones, the orangutans, the chimpanzees, and the gorillas are all fake. All people in fursuits. Bubbles the chimp is an obvious one you can look to for Michael Jackson, is just such a blatant fake animal. They paraded around. Coco, the gorilla, another blatant fake animal. Gargantua, the gorilla. All these orangutans coming out, being able to like cook marshmallows. It's just nonsense. They're laughing at you like, wow, look at you watch this stupid costume show. You can't figure it out yet. You can't figure out that it's just a costume show. But we figured it out. We need to make art like this. And I actually did post this to social media, and I got a decent response from some of these freaks. So I'm happy that it's out there, because maybe part of them is just they get some release from knowing that it's well known. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, probably a bigger, more visceral, freaky aspect of this reality is the moon bumps disguise fake swire pregnancy. I think my own quote unquote mom did this. I think that many celebrities do. I think it's a very common reality that we live in, that moon bumps are everywhere. And you'll see the Martin Man carrying the child around and being all cozy with the child when they're the one who actually had them in the first place. So that's why they're doing that. Seahorse Society, bearded women. So I hinted at that at the last image. And then you have here in the front a sloth with the animatronic tag on it holding testosterone. And you have a koala, obviously another fake animal they push on us. Both these two are very similar in that they shouldn't survive. They're they're extremely slow and only eat like one thing, and like they just make no sense at all. They look ridiculous. But yeah, she's the koala's holding Premarin. So those are the two main things where we think that these people are using for hormone therapy. And then, yeah, the front, burn it all, because I'm sick of this. I don't want to be around this. I don't like this. And this needs to all come to light. People need to stop doing this. So, yep, that's a art about truth. So, and again, this could be anything. You don't have to be painting. I like painting, but you could do anything. You can put images together. This is one of my favorite things to point out to people. I just think this was very well done. Wernher von Braun created NASA. This is his tombstone. Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. We never used the word firmament not once in primary education. It just wasn't used, and that's because we were sold the false globe lie, and they wanted to remove that word from our understanding. I don't even think I even heard that word until I was probably in high school. I don't even know if I heard it then. It's such a covered up word, such a hidden word. But yeah, clearly Wernher von Braun's a clown, and I made videos referencing that. And what's important here is just to note that if this was genuine, it wouldn't say that. It would say basically the Buzz Lightyear tagline, or to infinity and beyond, or please continue to explore the final frontier, or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd have somebody that's so gung-ho about it, but then you have him just telling the truth, like trying to get that karmic release from spending their whole life as a fraud. And this is just perfect. You need to call it out. So whether this is your form of art or whatever, doesn't matter. As long as it spreads the truth and opens people's minds, it's good. This is a great one. I love that this is still in circulation and still well known about. The Venus of Willendorf, the true woman. I mean, you can't really hide the true woman, but just so much art, so much, yeah, so much art nowadays just fixates on these trans people. Not enough people do art about regular people. It's kind of weird. But there really aren't that many of us, and I think that you've got to venerate the natural image of woman. So this is, in my opinion, great truth art and something that we should always keep in our minds. And honestly, what I believe the nature of reality is, I believe, yeah, God is male, and the earth, what we live in, is a female. Basically, it's kind of weird, but if you think about it, if we live under a firmament and we live on this flat earth, then that firmament could effectively be the belly of the woman. So there's kind of this woman man interrelation here. And I think there's God as the penetrator, right? God is the one who's putting stuff into the world. That God has the seed, and then the earth is the egg, right? Through which it is inseminated, and then people are brought in. And I think the moon and the sun are these interesting things. Are these lights, um, these beautiful spectral lights, spotlights, the heat lamp and the cold lamp. But I think also the moon is a entryway, is an exit way, and potentially also an entryway in. Um, but that's more esoteric and not known for certain. And I'm getting off point. So, but yes, thinking of the earth, like our whole place, as a feminine, and then God as this figure on the outside that's maybe, yeah, like, if you think about like our cells in our body and just break that down in the microcosm and of our own lives, and then put us in, we're inside of a giant woman, and then like a God is making things happen inside of us. I don't know, it's just a theory I have. It's fun to think about. And then the sun and the moon could be God's eyes, always watching over, helping the woman, or being, keeping an eye on her, wandering around the room. It's very peculiar when you think about it on this, like, I guess, this cosmic scale. So then, yeah, going forward, masculine women, feminine men, they're not really hiding it at all. It's just, look at, that's a feminine man, right? Like, may have a penis, or is that a masculine woman? Like, it's both. It's kind of funny how that works. You can, but yeah, here you have like the supposed to be a woman, quote unquote, swire type, long neck, smoking a cigarette, doing more of like a male thing. Can't really hide what they are. Um, you have this is what I experienced growing up. This top left right here, the Martin dad is just chilling, holding the 666 hand sign, and the swire's like, hey, rah, like yelling, got the arm on the hip, like really strong, you know. Uh, and then, yeah, okay, the two guys holding arms, like I would see this and I'm like, what is going on? It's fine. I think I wouldn't be opposed to holding anybody's arm, I suppose, but how often I saw Martins holding arms, it's just, and still to this day, it makes sense because they're really girls. Okay, here you have the Triad Claw, Mason M, holding up the perfume, the all-seeing eye on the bottle. I mean, this is just loaded with imagery. And then you have the dude lady at the bottom here playing pool, looking like straight at back, thin as can be, big jaw. I mean, they know what they're doing. It's pretty hilarious. So I think this is the same image. It's just, instead you have the flipped image in here where you have the Swire Arena, Dixie Hamilton, and yeah, Frank McConville, Con and Dixie. Like, so, which is the rooster, which is the hen? This is great. This is obviously their stuff, but you can just, hey, it's out there. I can point. I know I can see things. Okay, so now we're getting into. I'm going to go through a lot of RFTK Ohio, or maybe Hans if you don't, Hans if you know him. His imagery. This is on his site. I think these are great. I think this one's called Heller Las Vegas, and it looks like, maybe he can get clarity on this, but this looks like a church to me. Like, this looks like pews. Then you have maybe this angelic creature, this person, or is this some sort of like priest? I'm sorry, my cat has been awful of late. He's being really loud and just ornery. But let's go back to it. Yeah, you have like all these colors and beautiful things, and it's just this life. I mean, you're surrounded by all this beauty and this like wild colors, but then it's like, is it what I'm thinking of is the Cocteau Twins album, Heaven or Las Vegas. He wrote Hell or Las Vegas, so I think it was kind of the same thing. But yeah, like you think that you're in church with all these colorful lights and everything, but they're selling you a false doctrine, and there's the dead image of Christ at the back of the church, and that's the image they want to associate you with him instead of him healing somebody, or like not even, you shouldn't even have an image of him, just his words. I think that would be way more powerful, way more positive than, oh, we have to always have this dead person in the back. But yeah, I think that's the Hell or Las Vegas. Great image from Hans there. And then yeah, here this notion of fruit, wheat and tares, weeds that produce nothing, grow quickly, and choke fruit-bearing plants. Yep. And then you just think of that in your life. I mean, look at the world around you. It's mostly seasonal, right? Like, or everything is seasonal, right? Like grass grows, and then I mean, unless you're living in a super xeric, hot environment, let's just say generic, not generic, but like a common, like temperate environment, grass grows in the spring and gets, a little brittle in the summer, towards the tail end there, and then by the fall it slows down quite a bit, and then by the winter it's covered in snow and dormant, and then the weeds that grow around them um, inhibit their growth and do nothing else. And um, you know, it's interesting. It's a curious concept, and we have talked about it at length. But I think we have a lot of good work that we can do here to bring out the wheat in everyone. I guess maybe I don't know how to phrase that. And then yeah, she said it's really effing hot in this suit. So like they're like, I don't know, handling like a little kitty maybe, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like they don't really hide it that much, and it's one of their biggest psyops, fake apes. Got these scars in Nam the summer of '84. So yeah, war being fake, huge topic, huge thing to understand, because yes, all these hidden hands folks, they're usually referencing this right here, the scars underneath their breast tissue that was removed because they're trying to come off as a man when they're not, and it's gross. And it's funny too because it's summer of '84. It's way after the Vietnam War occurred, so pretty Hans is a pretty funny dude. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. So you have someone who just has a fake face, lizard tongue, everything looks masculine about it, like just gross, very bony looking, dark eyes, snake. It's a snake underneath there with the unicoid, giant front teeth. It's so weird. You think of Nosferatu. Very helpful image. When you're looking at an evil, you have a good idea. Don't judge a book by its cover is somewhat good advice, but the cover matters. The cover certainly matters. And then I like this one because it's relatable, and it's Job, one of my favorite books of the Bible. Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bone and sinews. Yeah, look maybe in the sun here on a hot day, and just it's hard. It's hard being alive. This is a very relatable image, and I think we don't want to be tormented by our words. I think it's important to say this, but then also understand that there's a spiritual component. And I think if you're living in that truth and living in spirit, then your bones won't weigh on you as much. Or if they do weigh on you, you're going to have that deeper current surging you forward to heaven, because you've got to help people. That the works that you do aren't measured in money, and how good they are. People get paid a lot of money to make fake stuff. That's not good. God sees the fake stuff and knows it's messing with people's heads, and every person that messes with it's going to be a little bit worse for that person that made it. So think about all the evil stuff that's out there that you've been exposed to, and people that you've been told to venerate, but they're really wretched because they're lying, and that's So this, I agree with this, but I think if you're living in the good spirits, then it's not going to bother you as much, and you're going to forget about it, honestly. um, so then, yeah, this is on guest speaker's site. I just think it's awesome. How are unicorns fake, but giraffes are real? Like, what's more believable, a horse with a horn or a leopard moose camel with a 40-foot neck? Like, just I think this goes to show that there's the breeding going on. We talked about the okapi before and how we think that they're precursors to giraffes, bred and bred and bred. Um, and yeah, unicorns is just a horse with a horn. It's not that it doesn't seem as far fetched, honestly. So this is a great thing to think about. And I do believe that there are unicorns out there. I don't know whether they're equine, bovine, or what, but I think that they're out there, and maybe they're both. Hopefully, they're both. That'd be really cool to see. And um, yeah, don't hunt them. Please don't hunt them. And then yeah, water is wet. Just straightforward reality here. So here you have the two. Look at the inches. It's off. So you could like level a house. You could ruin a house. You could ruin a structure. Whatever, working here, because it's not even the same. You have it's the same device, but they're not even the same. They're like what, a quarter inch off. So yeah, you've got to be skeptical. You can't just go with the flow and trust Satan's conveyor belt. You need to get off of it in every way possible. And I think a good way to do that is to make art about it. And going back to the stuff that I made at the beginning, this one specifically, I did have some difficulty making this. I don't like drawing fake animals because yeah, it is just made up, and it's one that's used to lie, and it kind of hurt. I mean, all three on the left especially, I have a lot of history of watching movies and like just spending so much time watching Jaws and King Kong and playing Donkey Kong and dinosaurs. Is like I had all these dinosaurs in my youth, and it was just pushed on me, pushed on me, pushed on me, and I really like, so much frustration towards my parents comes out when I think of these things, because they didn't say anything, they went along with it. But they're also part of this, and I shouldn't blame anybody in particular, but um, it's important to do this even if it hurts, and I think ultimately it'll heal you, and it's important to bear your cross and bear the truth, and you can't do that by just, as my good buddy Snow Global puts it, playing the game on easy. You can't get to salvation playing the game on easy. um, it's just not possible. We have to do all sorts of things, and bring up the spirits of people despite despite being tormented. Isn't that unbelievable, how what we have to do, what our task is here? But yeah, it's beautiful in a way. God is amazing, and man, oh man, I'm just so thankful for people that have come into my life, and I've got a good video to share on that. Um, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, y'all. And if I don't talk to you before Christmas, I mean, yeah, happy solstice, of course. And Christmas doesn't really mean it's. We're pretty sure at this point that it's the reverse of Easter. I feel that way. I've always felt that way. That yeah, spring is when obviously the flowers come out. April Fool's Day, when God comes out, but or when God was born, or Son of God was born. And then winter makes sense for when they would pass, and there's biblical context for this. And um, yeah, so celebrate Christ, celebrate the birth of the physical sun in that sense, I suppose, where um, the sun's at the lowest part of its cycle, and it's coming back up again, and now we're going to have brighter and brighter days going forward. So celebrate that. That's why I like to celebrate the solstice. Don't celebrate Christmas in the traditional sense, because yes, it is pagan, and yeah, I think it's bad to lie to children, and all. Like, you can make a video on that too. Um, so yeah, sorry, tail down a little bit there. Have a wonderful time with your family, and I'll get back to you guys soon.